An American can reach almost anyone in seconds, but when they truly need someone beside them, that endless contact list can suddenly feel very short. Inside the same Houston metro area, one neighborhood has 3 places like cafes, parks, or libraries. Another has 36. Same city, radically different chances to meet. So why do Americans have more ways to communicate than ever, while signs of meaningful connection keep moving in the opposite direction? First, loneliness is subjective. Social isolation describes having few relationships and interactions. They overlap, but they are not the same condition. The 2023 advisory cited surveys in which roughly half of U.S. adults reported loneliness, and the problem was already present before COVID-19. At the population level, poor social connection is associated with a 29% higher risk of heart disease and a 32% higher risk of stroke. That is not a diagnosis for any one person, but it is large enough that loneliness and isolation can no longer be dismissed as private moods. The familiar explanation is tempting. Phones hook us, social media steals our attention, and loneliness is simply what happens next. That concern is not imaginary. Some uses of technology capture attention, interrupt conversation, and can displace time that might have been spent face-to-face. But if the phone explained everything, turning off the screen should restore the social world around us. The evidence does not support a story that simple. The same screen lets a family living far apart see one another, preserve small rituals, and show up for important moments. It can also help disabled people and marginalized groups find information, support, and communities that may be difficult to access in person. So the useful question is not whether technology is good or bad. It is whether technology supports relationships or replaces the conditions that create them. To answer that, we have to stop counting messages and start examining what researchers actually mean by social connection. Social connection has at least 3 dimensions: the support those networks provide and the actual quality of the relationships inside them. A person can receive dozens of replies and still not know whom to call at 2 in the morning. Contact is countable. Dependability is harder. The paradox now looks less mysterious. We expanded one part of connection, communication, and then treated it as a substitute for the entire social world. In 1990, 33% of surveyed Americans said they had at least 10 close friends. By 2021, that share was 13%. At the other end, the share reporting no close friends rose from 3% to 12%. Both ends of the same network moved. This does not mean Americans stopped interacting. They still have co-workers, acquaintances, and followers, but their close friend networks appear to have narrowed. That gap needs caution. The surveys use different methods, and close friend is subjective. The change is striking, but the measurement is not perfectly identical. But friendship did not shrink in a vacuum. Compared with 2003, American adults in 2023 spent an average of 99 more minutes at home each day. Across the same 2 decades, in-person socializing fell by more than 20%. Americans did not merely communicate differently, they allocated time differently. A message requires almost no travel. A meeting needs 2 schedules to align, a manageable trip, and somewhere both people can actually sit. As time outside the home declines, screens do more than compete with social life. They become the cheapest way to fill gaps left by physical life. This is where third places matter, places beyond home and work, such as cafes, parks, libraries, and neighborhood shops. They work best when they are neutral, accessible, inexpensive, and full of regulars. You do not need to organize an event just to see familiar faces again. Deep relationships rarely appear after one encounter. They often grow through repetition, seeing, recognizing, talking, and gradually becoming people who can rely on one another. When those places are distant, scarce, or car-dependent, every meeting must be manufactured through scheduling. Serendipity becomes a logistics project. Return to Houston. Lindale Farms has 5,231 residents and 3 third places. Houston Heights has 4,389 residents and 36 per capita. That is roughly one place per 1,744 residents versus 1 per 122. In raw counts, the gap is 12-fold, 3 places versus 36. Those numbers do not tell us who feels lonelier. They tell us something narrower. One resident has many nearby chances for repeated contact. Another has fewer. A third place does not automatically create friendship. It lowers the cost of the first meeting, the second, and the 10th, the repetitions relationships require. Here is the turn. America does not lack communication tools. Many places lack the conditions that let relationships emerge without demanding so much deliberate effort. Part of the burden of creating relationships has shifted from shared infrastructure to individuals. Schedule it, drive there, find space, and initiate every encounter. When those costs become too high, the screen is a rational choice. Not because people stopped needing one another, but because messaging is easier than building shared life. Technology delivers real benefits: speed, reach, and access. Costs appear when that convenience takes time or attention away from relationships in the physical world. When digital tools replace rather than support contact, a feedback loop can form: fewer meetings, more screen substitution, then less time and attention available for meeting. That loop does not happen to everyone. The effect depends on the technology, how it is used, who uses it, and what it replaces. Once poor connection is linked with population-level health risks, treating loneliness as a simple failure of personal will becomes far too narrow. And when one neighborhood has 12 times as many counted gathering places within the same metro, just go make friends does not begin from equal conditions. Individual action still matters. But if the conditions for relationships are built unevenly, solutions must also reach planning, policy, healthcare, and digital design. That is why the U.S. Surgeon General proposed a broader response: strengthen social infrastructure, support connection through policy, mobilize healthcare, and improve digital environments. That means changing conditions, protect places to gather, reduce barriers to access, and treat time for relationships as part of public life. But these are recommendations, not proof that America has implemented them or reversed the trend. The pressure is recognized. The response still has to be tested. The phone from the opening never lied. It truly connects one device to another. That simply is not the whole connection human beings need. Meaningful connection needs communication tools and conditions for meeting again, spending time, and becoming dependable. Technology can open a door. Social infrastructure determines whether there is somewhere to enter. Which leads to the next question: why were American suburbs built so effectively for cars, but not always for community?